with his identity and I always wondered why he would be left by his birth parents. And that was kind of his goal in life. And when we met, he just wanted some help. And after I got to know him, after a few minutes of talking to him, I just realized that this man, this young man who looked rugged, when you saw him, you might think that he was legitimate, respected on the streets, 17-year-old kid, but he just wanted some help. And we connected right away. And out of all the kids that I've helped in my program, there's one soldier that sticks out. I always call them my little soldiers. But there's one that just head and shoulders, was a leader, always took care of people. I remember we used to give him stuff. We'd give him, if he didn't have food at the house, we'd give him grocery money or we'd bring him goods. And then later I'd come around and we have to stop him because he's giving all the stuff to the neighborhood kids. Like he just wanted to help other people. Like, brother, we can help them too, but just make sure you eat. So that was really his heart. And he became what I would call a mixture of my best friend and my adopted son. And I have one biological son, and he took Junior under his wing and protected him with his life. And Junior felt so safe around Tyree. Now, we kept in touch, talked every day. I knew he had social media, and I used to monitor his stuff pretty religiously because, believe it or not, us as parents or parent figures or guardians, social media is a young person's life. Their entire heart and their life is going to be put up there. So it's our job. It's not a suggestion. It's kind of like it's a must. It's mandatory that you monitor your kid's social media. And so I kept up with it for a while, and everything was going great. He was set. He was actually going to come, and we were planning on, he was going to turn 21 soon, so we were planning on moving him in and getting him a job and really seeing him get on his feet. And I kind of got lax with monitoring his social media. And he'd been a little bit distant, but nothing out of the ordinary. I just figured he was just a young man that checked in with me often, but he was struggling in life like any young man that's coming at 21 years old. On April 13th of 2019, I'm just at my house in the kitchen, and my phone rings. And I'll never forget that. I just pick it up because I was getting ready to go to the movies, and I hear a voice screaming on the other end. And it was his niece. And I can never forget, she's just screaming, "Tyree killed himself, Tyree killed himself." And I've never felt physically weak from hearing something before. I basically literally had to drop to my knees. And that moment still, I replay that every day of my life. That was 4 years ago. And it's never gone away. It's never healed. It'll always hurt. But I've decided that instead of just being miserable and dwelling in that pain, I will tell his story. And there's certain facets of his story that I want to tell. And it goes hand in hand with what we do at Be Sure Consulting, because we train parents on how to monitor their kids' social media. So I made the unfortunate discovery to go on his social media for the 3 days before he left. And I could see that he was doing lives, and I saw a side of him that I never knew existed. He was crying, he was pleading, he was reaching out, basically telling the world how much pain he was in, and pain that I never knew about, and basically was telling the world what he was going to do. And my biggest regret in life is that I didn't monitor him daily like I should have, because I would have solved that in a heartbeat. I would have embraced him and said, "You're coming with me, and we're going to solve this pain right now." So I want to use his story as a lesson for parents. Don't ever get lax. Don't ever stop monitoring what your children do, whether they're 7 or 27. They'll always be your baby. So monitor their social media. Check out what they're doing and make it a consistent thing. I learned the hard way, but I don't want anyone else to have to go through that. So that's why we exist at Be Sure Consulting. We're going to teach you how you can monitor this stuff and how you can prevent another tragedy from happening.
So Matt's a Zion police officer who handles all our Chicago public schools, and they love him. He is just fantastic. A little interesting about him, he was a gangbanger his whole life. And when he was 20 years old, he was working at a factory, and the cops came in and had to do some arrests. And he was talking about the cops, he goes, "How much you fools make?" You know, typical gang attitude. And he's like, "How much we make? 6 figures, how much you make here?" And he goes, "Ain't that?" He goes, "You guys make 6 figures?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Why don't you take the test? We're taking the test in 2 weeks." He goes, "Bet." So he was a boxer trainer all his life, so he's in great physical shape. So he passed the physical, he passed the written test with flying colors, became a cop. And his mission was to change the culture of law enforcement against his people. But when he became a cop, his people turned against him. They wanted anything to do with him. So now he was stuck in this place, right? So he's got an unbelievable story. If you want to go on YouTube and see his story, it's amazing. But he's getting ready to retire, and now he's going to work for me full time and teaching all the schools.
So the story.
Why don't you go ahead and pull your phones out? Just like during COVID when we couldn't see a menu, go ahead and scan that. If you have an iPhone, there's going to be a gold bar. Hit the gold bar. If you have an Android, a little banner will appear. Just hit that and add contacts. The reason why I do this, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is no worse feeling in the world when your son comes down your hallway at 2:30 in the morning, pounding on your door, Mom, wake up, I did something bad." I get a call like that every single week. Because the amount of boys who are being extorted is just unbelievable. So we're going to talk a lot about that. Okay, and I want to be your lifeline. If you have a question or something happens, by all means text me, call me, email. I answer my phone 24/7. God put me on this earth to protect kids, and that's what I do. So, who am I? What do I do? So I've been a police officer for 33 years. I started out at the Village of Summit Police Department, where I grew up. As soon as I graduated college in 1988, I went full-time from 88 to 89 and 90, and then in 90, I went to Naperville PD. I was in Naperville PD for 28 years. I spent 4.5 years in patrol. And then in 1995, I went into juvenile investigations. When I went to juvenile investigations, I also became a SWAT sniper. In 1998, we had a subject come from Brentwood, Tennessee, drove all the way up to Naperville, picked a 13-year-old at the corner of her block, took her to a hotel, raped her. The guy didn't kill her, and let her go back home. So when she went back home, she told her parents what had happened, and she met him on this thing called, as you guys ever heard of, America Online? Yeah, AOL, right? That's where we all started. So, you met her on AOL, and back then, we didn't know what an IP was. We still had pagers and flip phones, right? Back in 1998. We didn't know what geolocation metadata, we didn't know if we could get the messages, we didn't know anything. So in Naperville, when there's a huge crime like that happens, all 40 detectives get together in a room and we talk about what we can do. And it was decided that I was going to take over her account, become her, and see what happens. So sure enough, 2 weeks later, started talking to her again. 6 months later, planned up and wanted to have sex with her again. So this time when he came up, he met me and my SWAT team. And that was the start of our internet crimes unit. So in 2000, the Department of Justice created a program called the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. We call it the ICAC. And currently today, there are 61 ICAC task forces in the United States, and there are 7,000 people like myself who just deal strictly in child exploitation. So that's run by the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. So All the data they get gives to us, all the data we get gives to them, in our cases, okay? Because let me give you a stat. One internet predator can have 250 victims in their lifetime. 250. So if one of your students are being affected, right? Understand there's 10 or 20 behind that student be affected by the same person. Okay? Somewhere in the United States. Now, what the ground rules are when this happens is that, we started seeing other departments. So we were working with other, like there was like 8 of us, Arlington Heights, Bolingbrook, Will County, Chicago, we all got together because we got the same cases of internet predators. So we started helping each other out. Well, in 2000, this ICAP was done, and then we started to get trained by AOL, Yahoo, Comcast to understand how the internet works. Okay? So in my career, I've arrested over 300 internet predators. In 2012, Jim Plaskow, the Will County State's attorney, had come to me and he asked me if I could start a high technology crimes unit just for Will County alone. So I said, you're going to have to talk to my bosses, Jim. I said, I'll do it on a part-time basis, but that's up to my bosses to let me. So he swore me in as a Will County detective investigator for the state attorney's office. I stole somebody from the ICAC, Megan, and then we used Will County's forensic people to do it. Well, over the course of 4 years doing this work, I worked from 8 o'clock to noon, 2 or 3 days a week. Megan worked full-time, but the Will County guys worked full-time, and I was like the person who directed everything. We were doing 2 search warrants a month. And at the end of 4 years, we arrested over 100 predators just in Will County alone. Just in Will County alone. So then, with all the success, the 4 years were over. Nobody was running against Jim, so he didn't need me anymore. So left Megan there, and I wanted to hightail him anyways because I wanted to develop something called Juvenile Justice Online. Because what I was seeing when working with other departments is that when it came to kids, they would just release them to their parents or arrest them and send them to court. Nothing in the middle. So I developed a program, it's called the Station Adjustment, a program that they can use, and it's under the law that they have to use it, but they don't. So I wanted to create an easy program that they can use to get diversion. And that's what I did after that. Well, in 2018, January 2018, I was teaching at one of the elementary schools in Naperville, parent presentation, because I taught in all their schools. And after the presentation, this crazy looking guy came up to me. He's about 6'4", skinny dude, all different kind of like autism colors on his shirt, and thick glasses, and spunky hair. And he goes, "Man, that was really great." He goes, "How would you like to do a TED Talk?" I'm like, "TED Talk?" I was like, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm Arthur Zaras. I run TED Naperville. I own it. And I am one of 39 TEDx outlets throughout the world." And he goes, "I would love for you to audition." So when you look at TEDx's, it's like American Idol. You have to audition. You don't go someplace they have to pick you and you audition. So I auditioned and I went through the second, third, fourth, fifth round and I made it. And when it was released in like March of 2018, I was getting calls from schools all over the country. I was never at work anymore. So my bosses called me in and they're like, "Hey, this new thing you're doing, you need to be at work." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I think I'm retired." So I retired in 28 years. And so then this is all I do is I teach cross country. And I teach about 4,000 police officers a year across the country. I just came back from Alaska a couple weeks ago. And I teach about 300,000 students. My team and I have 17 members. They're all internet crimes people, or they're SROs. This year we had about 300,000 parents and students. And as of this week, we are up to 42 victims that have come forward after our presentation. Because our message, when we talk to students, is a message of empowerment, okay? We tell them, no one has the right to make you feel bad about yourself online.
No one. No one has the right to make you do something you know you shouldn't be doing, like sextortion or suicide. So if somebody is making you do these things, and you're watching me for an hour and 15 minutes, and the slides that you're seeing is triggering you, causing you a panic attack, like, oh my God, that's exactly what happened to me, oh my God. I need you to come see me after the presentation because I'm going to make your pain stop. How do I make your pain stop? When it comes to social networking and gaming, no one online is anonymous. No one. There is no one I cannot find. I don't care if they use VPNs. I'm going to go through and around VPNs. It doesn't matter. I can still find out the person who's doing it. So when they hear that, they're like, I want this to stop. So we had actually opened up like 42 of those, 38 of them were actually criminal investigations where there were bad men affecting these kids. I came back from Oregon, 7 victims. I had 3 cyberbullying, I had 3 sextortion, and I had 1 kid who was talking to a predator she didn't even realize it. So the message to the kids is so powerful. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this program. So how many kids are in the district?
About 1,200.
So why are there not 1,200 parents here? Right? You see, parents suffer from a deadly disease. It's called the NNK syndrome. What the NNK syndrome does, it sets their children up for failure. Okay? So what does that mean? Not my kid. I don't need to go to that presentation because my daughter would never take naked pictures of herself. I don't need to go to that presentation because my son would never, ever talk to a predator. I don't need to go to that presentation because my kids know what will happen to them if they do that. That's why I don't need to go to that stuff. Because I taught my kids better. Well, you're wrong. You're wrong because I get calls every week of parents who thought the same thing. And they're wrong. The NNK syndrome allows parents to stick their head in the sand and not pay attention. Probably because they don't understand the technology because it's moving so fast, right? And that's why it's great that we're recording tonight, because you put this on your website or on your social media and you're going to get it, okay? Now, the problem is, though, is that when parents don't come, you know they're not watching their kids either, right? So I'm going to show you the strategies on how to have a technology talk with your children and what sets them up for failure. So there's 4 things that we need to get right out in the open. Okay? First is the NNK syndrome. Number 2, in all 49 states, your children own nothing until they're 18. Nothing. I don't care if Nana, No, Nutia, Tiu, Grandma, Grandpa, Jaja, Busha, whatever, bought them that new iPhone 16 for their birthday, they don't own it by law. You, as the parent, are not only responsible for their food, clothing, shelter, and education, you are responsible for their technology too. Because they don't own anything until they're 18. Okay? I don't care if they cut grass all summer, babysit all winter, and they bought it with their own money. Guess what? They still don't own it. The parent owns everything about them until they're 18. Okay? Number 3. It is a proven medical fact that the frontal cortex of our kids' decision-making brain can't handle all the scheming that goes on social media and gaming platforms. Their brains can't, they only think for the present. They can't think, what's this person going to do to me, step 2, step 3, step 4. They don't have the experience, right? So they live in the moment. For that reason, there is no such thing as privacy for children. None. Parents allow them to have the device. Parents own the device. The parents own them. There is no such thing as privacy for children. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're cooking dinner on Sunday. Family's coming over.
And as you're cooking dinner, you notice your daughter is having a really intense Snapchat conversation with someone, right? Like, ugh, right? You know, and they're making little comments, and you go to her and you say, sweetheart, who are you texting? No one, Mom, is private. Oh, hell no. That phone is mine. And it's going to go for a swim if I don't see what's going on right now. See, parents are afraid to do that because they think their children have privacy away from them. Some parents are of the illusion, no, I'm not going to snoop in my kid's phone. If they mess up, they got to figure it out. Yes, when we were kids, like we got caught drinking or smoking weed or doing whatever, yeah, that's okay. We need to learn that. But in technology, that mistake will follow you for the rest of your life. And sometimes cause suicide when you can't control it, because it's gotten so out of control. And parents just don't understand the ripple effect of what their kids are doing. Okay? So there's no such thing as privacy for our children. And when I teach the kids, I tell them that too. I show them what the law is. And this is how kids scheme, right? A lot of my school districts want to do this presentation all in one day. They want me to do elementary in the morning, middle school in the morning, high school in the afternoon, parents at night, all over the country. They want to get it all done in one day. But here's what happens. When the kids come home, they know what I'm about, right? I'm about total transparency, and your parents are there to protect you, right? They'll come home, and the parents will say, hey, we're thinking about going to see that speaker, that detective tonight. How was it? Oh, he sucked. Don't even go. Don't even bother. And they tell their parents not to go. So now what I'm doing the parents first, then I'm doing the students, all right? So they don't get a chance to, and I ask the parents when they come, I say, how many of your students told you I sucked and you shouldn't come? I'll get 3 or 4 parents raising their hand, because they don't want the parents to know what I told them I'm going to explain to them, okay? So it's really important. This education is really important for the kids. And number 4, if your child changes the access code on the device that you allow them to use to lock you out, that is a consequence. At any time, you should be able to log into that anytime you want. If they changed it so they lock you out, ask yourself why. Why is it? Because you're doing something wrong. Simple. Okay? No such thing as privacy. 2 years ago, I was teaching down in Clinton, Illinois. Small community, Illinois. And it was a Thursday night like this, and the chief and the sheriff decided to take me out to dinner before the event. And I leaned over to the chief at dinner. I said, Chief, if a parent brought their son or daughter and they were a victim of cyberbullying or sextortion, do you have somebody trained up to handle that? Do you have any ICAC? He goes, oh God, no. I've got 1.5 detectives. I have no training. I have no training budget. I said, so what do? He goes, I just send them on their way. I said, send them on their way? You don't even take a report? He goes, no. What are we going to do with it? I send them to the FBI or state police. I'm like, well, that's crazy. I said, here's my card. If you ever need anything, let me know. So that was Thursday. Monday morning, 6 o'clock, I'm heading out to Naperville PD to go teach for this thing called NEMR. And I get this call, and this guy on the other end says, are you Detective Wistocki? I said, yeah. And he goes, my chief told me to call you. I said, okay, who are you? And he goes, well, I'm a detective in Clinton. I said, oh, okay, yeah, what do you got? He goes, well, Saturday night, Sunday morning, 12-year-old girls had a sleepover, and they were attacking another girl on Snapchat and telling her how ugly she was, nobody likes her, that's why she wasn't invited. And they said, why don't you just go freaking kill yourself? And she did it. She killed herself. She's dead. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, all right, let's start with the messages. What did the messages say? He goes, I don't know. I said, you don't have the messages? He goes, no. I said, you got the devices? He goes, yeah. Why can't you see the messages? Because the girls locked their phone, they won't open it. Can't see the messages. The girl that's dead, she locked her phone too, so her parents couldn't get in. It took us 6 months to pop that phone.
6 months. Can you imagine not knowing what happened for 6 months to your daughter? You got to bury her, all that stuff. Okay? So, this stuff is serious. Okay? And it doesn't happen somewhere else. Again, I went to 2 little communities in Wallowa, Oregon. Like, there's not 5,000 people in that town. And I walked away with 7 victims. Okay? So imagine in our population what's happening, right? So those are the ground rules. There's where we're going to start. And currently I am a deputy sheriff in Putnam County, Tennessee. I go down there often, met the sheriff, I did some training for him, and he sucked me up into his police department. I handle everything remotely for them. So anytime, any cybercrime, search warrants, finding people, identifying people, they call me in and I do everything from home. I give it to them and they find out who it is. So that's what I do currently. So things we're going to talk about are predators on social networks, the apps on your cell phone, some of the crimes in the state of Illinois. We're talking about what you should do when you see online threats. We're going to talk about strategies on how to protect our children and learn how to obtain evidence for the police. This is probably one of the biggest ones we're going to talk about right here. In 2021, the United States Secret Service put out something called the Threat Assessment Survey Study. And what they found was that 94% of the school shooters over the last 12 years, 94%, posted online what they were going to do before they did it. This is called leakage. Okay? So based on that study and findings, I took what I was doing in child exploitation investigations and I applied it to the leakage. So now I teach a 3-day program. It's called Identifying and Intercepting School Shooters Through Leakage and Cyber Investigations. So there's something called the ECPA, the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. And what it says in there is a federal statute that if someone posts something that's threatening life or death that's happening now or going to happen, law enforcement can obtain that data within an hour to find out who it is. So I took that rule and now I train people all over the country. This year alone, it's a 3-day class. The first day is attended by school admin, your school IT people, school social workers, deans, APs, principals, and superintendents, combined with local law enforcement and your SROs. Okay? So and I even give AA credit, Administrative Academy credit for that day. And so the school officials are only needed to be there the first day because I want to put everybody on the same page. But my IT people, I want them there all 3 days because law enforcement has no idea the wealth of knowledge you guys have, especially in Chromebooks, and they miss that in those investigations. So we get everybody together, right? So I show people how to investigate that to find out who the person is within the first couple hours, so you don't have to shut down the school. This class is about the mental health of our children. The common denominator of every school shooter is that they were either emotionally, mentally, physically, or sexually abused in the home. That's the common denominator. So when that happens, and they start off that don't come to school tomorrow, something bad's gonna happen, they are actually regressing those feelings of hate toward the people who treated them in a way, and they're gaining confidence. It takes about a year from their first post to make everybody scared. It takes about a year for them to execute. So what happens is, when they make that post, I'm ready to shoot up the school. Within 2 hours, we find out who and where they're at. We get them in custody and take them to the hospital. The main focus of this class is the mental health of our students. So once we get that student secured within the first couple hours of the posting, we execute a search warrant that I've already pre-done for all my cops. Search warrant on their social media to see how serious they are. If they were serious and talking about and planning it, then we execute a search warrant on their home, grabbing the weapons that they were going to use. This year alone, as of last Friday, one of my guys in Broward County, Sheriff's Office in Florida, they arrested a 20-year-old who said, don't come to school tomorrow, something bad's going to happen. They found out who it was. They hit his house with a search warrant, 24 AR-15s and pressure cooker bombs he had ready to go. Out of the people that have taken my class, we have stopped 38 school shootings this past school year. And 11 of them had weapons they were going to use. Just because of the leakage, okay? Now, it's really important that you know that this success starts off with students, okay? So when I tell the students, no one is anonymous. So I show them what they need to do. So I'm sure all of you heard of See Something, Say Something, right? Do you guys do I Love You Guys in this? So the I Love You Guys Foundation, John Michael is a really close friend of mine. I travel with him all summer, and he does his thing, I do my thing at school conferences across the country. We're going to be probably at about 10 conferences keynoting this year. And I told John Michael, I said, you know, we need to up the ante on the See Something, Say Something thing. He goes, what do you mean? I said, we need to show kids, see something, say something, how to report something when it comes to social media. Because this is where they're seeing the threats coming up. He goes, yeah, kids are saying. So we cross-train a lot. So if you see something, you must say something. Time is of the essence, and the only way you can help a friend who is in crisis is by reporting it. So we can give them the mental health help they need, mandatorily, right? So there are 5 pieces of evidence, and what I teach the kids when I get the opportunity is that when you see something posted on a Friday night, don't wait till Monday to report it. Time is of the essence with these threats, okay? So here are some of the success stories from the students from this year that I taught. My SRO in Gurnee, Illinois, first day of school, they get a shooting threat. He tracked it within 2 hours to a kid. They kicked out of school the year before, and the kid was in Wisconsin. My Indiana SROs do things a little bit differently. They had one 7th grader make the threat, and then after he made the threat, 15 other students reposted the threat, and they got arrested too. So what I'm telling the kids this school year now is that if you see a threat, do not repost the threat. Because it is as if you are making the threat. Grab the 5 pieces of evidence, give it to your school person or your school resource officer, be done with it. Now the problem with this one right here, one of the biggest violators of people reposting are the parents. Because some parents think that they have an axe to grind with the school, right? Something happened with their student, and now they hate the principal, they hate the superintendent. So anything that happens in school, they go to social media and they try to out you. They're the keyboard warriors of the school. I'm going to make that school pay because they're not doing their job. I'm going to the school board meetings, I'm out of my social media. Well, here's the thing. When parents repost the threat, look what the school is doing. Look what, and I heard it's this kid. Then other parents are going to jump in and they're going to say, my son said it was this kid, and they named the kid. My son said it was this kid. My son, parents, you're opening yourself up to civil liability when you have no standing to mention that kid's name and the kid had nothing to do with it. You're going to get sued because this stuff never goes away. All right? So when I'm training parents and students, when you see a threat, do not repost it. Grab the 5 pieces of evidence. I'm going to show you where that's at. And of course, my Joliet guys, after they took the class, there was an 8th grader and a freshman who didn't want to take state testing that day, and they decided that something bad's going to happen. Someone's going to shoot the school, they heard, and they both got arrested within a couple hours. It is so easy for law enforcement to track this stuff down. We have special portals that we communicate with Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and once we request it, boom, they're sending it within 15 minutes. It's that fast, especially when school threats. So about a few months ago, I was told by the Dr. Phil show that I'm probably going to be a regular on there. This was an episode that I did. They fly down to Texas, we shoot for a few hours, and then they make their show. This is about street takeovers. Across the country, kids are buying these fast cars, or they're souping their cars up. They pick intersection in a busy traffic place and they cordon off the streets. They set fires and ring of fires. They do donuts and people get hit, people get shot. It's just mayhem. So they called me up and they said, what can you tell parents and law enforcement to do to prevent it? And it's the 5 pieces of evidence. Because all this stuff is planned on social media. So here it goes.
To add someone to the conversation, a retired cybercrime detective who travels the country training students on how to properly report takeovers and other crimes that they see online. This is going to be important to hear, because when you see, what do you do? Because, I mean, they have millions of posts every day, this stuff just goes up all the time. But what can you do if your kid does bring this to you? Your teen says, look, you know, this is where you told me not to do, but, you know, here's one, here's another, here's another. What do you do about all that? We're going to get his advice right after the break. So I'm adding to the conversation a retired cybercrime detective who had a 30-year career in law enforcement, was a member of the United States Secret Service Computer Crimes Task Force, and is currently a deputy with Putnam County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee. Now, he travels the country, really raising awareness and teaching students how to properly report dangerous activity that they see online. So please welcome Detective Rich Wistocki. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dr.
So when they see this, there are things that they can do. What's number one?
So number one, when I train kids and parents what to do with these types of things, a lot of times they just will delete it, they'll report it, but number one, we need to be able to take screen captures of everything.
Okay.
The chat, the profile, the pictures, the videos, anything that the poster's putting out, we need to take screen captures of that.
Because it could go away.
Yeah, it can go away, they can delete it.
Yeah. And then second, you say provide gamertag, user ID, email address, phone number. What do you
Yes,
think?
because a lot of these are put out on social media, on gaming platforms like Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite. So we want to have either the gamer tag, the user ID, the text message from the phone number that they make, or the email that's sending it out. Any one of those four or a combination of those four, we need to have that information to do an investigation.
All right, and what do you do with that info?
So what we do with that, the law enforcement has portals. So we have special design portals just for law enforcement that are credentialed, and we can talk to straight to the social network, and they give us the information once we give them due process, whether it's exigency, whether it's a search warrant or a subpoena.
Okay. All right. Number three, you said do not report it to social network because it just goes into a long, big stack.
Yeah, so what happens with that, here's what I tell my parents and students across the country. If you're going to report it to the police, do not report it to abuse, because what happens is when you report it to abuse first, right, it goes into a queue where their security team will examine it for TOS, terms of service. So if it violates the terms of service, that account may be deleted. Well, then when you report it to the police, the patrol officer will take the report, it goes to investigations. That could take a week to 10 days. Then once the detective goes and does preservation, subpoena, or search warrant, they've already deleted it. But if you're not going to report to police, by all means, always report it to abuse.
You say write a detailed written statement about what happened.
Yes, so I want the person who is viewing it to write down exactly what happened, who sent it, and how it made them feel, because in law enforcement investigations, we cannot be alarmed and disturbed according to the Supreme Court. But if I have a victim reporting to us that they're alarmed and disturbed for these reasons, that can go into a search warrant that we're going to serve on the social media to find out what these people are up to.
Okay. And then you say print everything and put it on a flash drive. Why?
Right. So I want them to, everything that we told them to grab, we want them to print it out and put it on a flash drive. The reason why we need to put it on a flash drive is because of those portals. The social networks are going to require law enforcement to upload what the threat is, to upload what the danger is. So taking those screenshots in digital form, putting in our computers and uploading them into the platform, then they have it immediately.
So if somebody sees that and reports it, can they get to this fast enough before something happens? Because usually this drops really quick, right, Sheriff?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Yeah, they'll put it out. Here's what the ECPA says, the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. If death or great bodily harm is about to happen or happening now, within reasonable amount of time, which means about 2 hours, and we do this with school shootings too, school shooting threats, within about 2 hours, we can identify where the person is, who's posting it,
Within 2 hours.
within 2 hours.
And then you activate local law enforcement.
Absolutely.
My final thoughts about all this after the break. Well, tonight we've been discussing the tragic consequences of teen and young adult trends that law enforcement calls a takeover. And I don't know if you've ever driven up on one or gotten close to one, but they are so brazen, they'll just hit an intersection and it'll be traffic jammed back so far in all four directions, not even law enforcement can get up there, right? It's just terrible. And you can't know where your child's going every night. But once they leave the house, they tell you A and they go do B, C, or D. But you can talk to them about what happens at some of these things ahead of time. You should have them hear the stories that we're talking about here. You know, Raymond is gone. That's undeniable. Everybody's left with the aftermath of that. You're still having to fight back from your injuries, right?
I am every day,
Every single day.
every day.
And all for 10 seconds of an adrenaline rush from somebody. So, you know, your kids can't look away from some of this stuff if you make them look at it, if you make them aware. And they've got to have the strength of their convictions to say, no, just pull over and let me out. What you can do is help them develop foresight, where you say, all right, let's just play the what if game, all right? And you know, you can play the what if game until it makes you crazy, like what if we hadn't walked across that intersection at that time? But the what if game can also be constructive as long as you answer the question. What if I do go? What if somebody is hit by a car? What if I'm implicated in it? What if it changes my whole life? What if I go to jail? Answer those questions, and maybe your child will take pause and say, you know what? The risk-reward ratio is just not good for me. But the only way you're going to affect that is you sit down and have that conversation with them. And they might roll their eyes, say, oh, Mom, come on, oh, Dad, come on. But they're going to hear it. And you need to teach them, it's what we refer to as critical thinking. How to think their way through this, because they don't come to it naturally at that age. You got to teach them how to think their way through. Let's just project ahead. Let's say, well, if this happens, then that happens, then this happens. And it sticks with them. The whole goal of any discipline is that it ultimately becomes internalized and becomes self-discipline. And that's true whether you're dealing with a 2-year-old, 12-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever. You hope they internalize it and it becomes self-discipline.
So I want to show you the 5 things you can take a picture of it, and you can keep it with you. So you're going to take a screen capture of everything, the user ID, or the gamer tag, or the email address, or the fake phone number that they're using. All traceable, all of it. So do not report to the social network, I explained that. But if they don't want the police involved, then by all means report to the social network. Maybe some type of statement how it made me feel, and then put everything on a flash drive and print everything out for the police. So, remember I told you that one internet predator can have 250 victims in their lifetime? Well, there's 2 reasons for that. The first reason is because parents suffer from the NNK syndrome. They're not watching, all right? The second reason is we have police officers who work for our towns, and they work really hard in their 10, 12-hour days at not taking a report. Okay? Every police department has them. They will actually blame the victim as to why they're there. Okay? And the reasons why they do that when it comes to internet crime is because there's no training for them how to take a cybercrime report and child exploitation. So this past legislative session, I proposed that every police officer in the academy has 8 hours of cybercrime report taking training. The training board shot it down. They said that's something that has to be done after they come to the police because they don't have time to teach that. So now I wrote a 3-day class for field training officers and supervisors on how to police their people in taking cybercrime reports. Okay? So that just got approved today. Let me take you to Columbus, Ohio last year. The number one predator site in the world right now, guys, the game Roblox. Roblox is the biggest predator site in the world. And it is being played by 6, 7, 8-year-old little kids. And the reasons why there's so many predators there, predators go where the kids are. But Roblox opened up chat between adults and children. Okay? Now I gave you a handout how to secure your kid's Roblox account. Okay? So it's in there, and step by step it'll show you what to do and how to do the parental settings. Okay? So let me take you to Columbus, Ohio last year. Single dad has an 11-year-old daughter. He comes home at 5 o'clock, calling out for his daughter. She's not answering. He goes up to her bedroom. She's not there. He looks at the closet and sees she's in the closet. Someone's in the closet. Opens the door. She's laying there taking naked videos of herself. She's 11. What are you doing? What are you doing? She says, Daddy, I had to do it for my friend on Roblox or else he's going to do something bad. Okay? So he calls the police department, 911, says, can you get some officers here? We have a situation with my daughter. Calls them at 6. They don't show up until midnight. When they show up at midnight, this is what happens 50% of the time across the United States.
Is there a better coffee cream soda? Yeah. No.
That's crispy Sprite.
Oh, you know what? I almost had Sprite. I haven't had Sprite since I was like a kid. Who did you send that?
Sprite's good. Except for the dog Sprite.
Oh, no, I want to do you see that Sprite challenge? Like your phone Sprite challenge. Alright.
She's in bed now. It's very nice to go to sleep.
Well, it's so happy though.
Yeah. I just the whole time I was going to come and talk to her. And I just want her to realize what this was. I mean, the reality is how much sex I can do about it.
I mean, she could probably charge with child porn.
Who she can? She's 11 years old.
She's creating it, right?
She's 11 years old.
Doesn't matter. He's still making porn.
No, she's not. She's being manipulated by a grown-ass adult.
Is she taking pictures of?
That's how I see.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. Are you serious? How do I see?
Can you say 30 days off, no pay? The unfortunate thing about this, the Columbus PD has a fantastic ICAC unit. And they found the guy doing this to this girl. He had numerous victims. But why does these officers act this way? Because detectives are not training their patrol officers on how to do this. So when I saw this, I told myself, I gotta do something because I hear this all the time. From like parents coming to my presentations, Detective Mustaki, I don't know what to do. I found this about my daughter. I go to call police, they say it's a civil matter. What do you want me to do about it? Or if you make a report, I'm going to arrest your daughter. They do this all the time. And I investigated why they do this. They had no training in it. Right? So, where does she learn that from? Probably from her bosses. Right? So that's why I'm doing a 3-day training, field training officers and supervisors, how to supervise internet crimes with patrol officers. So it just got approved today, so I'm happy about that. But again, this happens 50% of the time. This slide right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason, the sole reason why predators are going to talk to your children. So when I teach in elementary schools, right, and junior highs, when I teach 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, how old are they?
10.
Yeah, 10, 11, 12, 6th grade, right, 7th grade. Yeah, that's how old they are. So when I taught them, I said, all right, how many guys got Snapchat? Yeah. How many guys got TikTok? Yeah. How many guys got Discord? Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I say, how many of you did behind your parents' back and care what they thought? The rest of them raise their hand. So here's your thought process. You thought to yourself, well, my parents never really have. But I'm a good kid. I have a little brother and sister have a Snapchat, TikTok. Why can't I have one? Everybody in school's got it. Why can't I have one? That's not fair. I'm not going to do anything wrong. Heck, I'm just going to download it anyways. So they download their Snapchat, right? They got to put their name in. They got to put their email in. They got to put their phone number in. Oh, crap. I didn't want to give birth. I know you're thinking, wait a minute. Now, our kids got the best mathematicians. So here's your thought process. Okay, wait. I was born in 2014. Do I go up with my date of birth to be 13, or do I go down with my date of birth to be 13? I don't figure it out. I'm just going to put it in 2000, that'll get me in. So I asked the question, how many of you put in 2000? Because you want to figure out the math? 75% raise their hand. Then I asked the question, how many of you guys put your parents' date of birth? The rest of them raise their hands. I have a dad, when I was in Oregon, he goes, Detective, is that why I had breakfast this morning? My daughter asked me when my birthday was. And then when I asked her why, she just walked away from me. I said, yeah, that's why. She's going to create her own social network after that. So when they put 2000 as their date of birth, ladies and gentlemen, how old are they? 25. Who do you think is going to come talk to them? Adults, because they're 25. Who do you think is going to send them naked pictures? Adults, because they're 25. Who's going to ask your 11-year-old to take their clothes off and get in front of the camera? Adults, because they're telling everybody they're 25. When I teach my SROs, my new police officers, I tell them, you don't have a case. If that account says they're 25, you better have some chat, some pictures in a uniform or cheerleader uniform, whatever, to prove that that suspect knew that they were 13 and not 25. Because if you ain't got that, you ain't got a case. Okay? So as parents, what do? We need to sit down with them. Show me your profile on Snapchat. Show me your profile on TikTok, on Discord. Because they got to be 13. So when you go back home and you say, show me your profile. If it's 2000, you're going to say, nope, you're deleting it. What are they going to say? No, I can't. I got my followers. I'm going to be an influencer. I'm going to make millions of dollars. You're 11. You'll get over it. Okay? Again, parents have to be parents. You cannot let them run the roost when it comes to social media, especially when they're 25. Okay? So this is the reasons why. My first school this school year, was in Freeport. Look at all those 25-year-old 4th and 5th graders. They all have Snapchat. And they all put 2000. I left that school with 3 victims. 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader were being sex-tortured by a freshman in their high school. By the same kid. They had to make a picture for themselves. So, would you drink alcohol with your kids? No. Right? Would we smoke weed with them? Hope not, because you're going to get them addicted, right? Would we smoke cigarettes or vape with them? No. Then why do our parents addict them to this?
I love this. No problem.
This is satire on an issue that we actually do need to talk about, which is digital soothing. And that is using devices, especially cell phones and tablets, during periods of dysregulation for our children. One of the biggest issues I see is not the overuse of screens for kids, but using screens during periods of dysregulation to soothe a child. Examples, you're cooking dinner and your child is screaming, so you hand them the iPad. You're at the doctor's office and they're upset after the visit, and so you immediately hand them your phone. Or they scream and cry for a tablet or screen, and you hand them the iPad. Couple huge issues here. One, you're not teaching your child any emotional regulation skills by giving them a screen when they're crying, are frustrated, or upset. And two, if they are crying for the screen and you hand it to them, you've now reinforced that crying will get them what they want, even if that's not the boundary. If screens are part of your family's routine, give it only during periods of regulation. If your child is screaming and crying for whatever reason, co-regulate or allow space for regulation first, and once they're regulated for at least 10 minutes and you want them to have the screen, they can have it. This is important to foster healthy emotional development. A recent study shows a concern of early childhood tablet use and anger outbursts. I will be taking a deeper dive into this and digital soothing in this week's newsletter. See below for
Nothing drives me more crazy than when I go to a really nice restaurant and I see two parents there with two 6-year-olds, headphones on, iPad in front of them. You are taking away the socialization of your children. That is your only time as parents to socialize them, to teach them etiquette when they go out to dinner. What happened to coloring with your kids? What happened to making bridges with the creams? Or making a little triangle playing football on the table? Right? So, what happens is, parents need to use that family time to show them how to act. Right? If your kids are that bad, you gotta throw headphones on and keep them busy during dinner, shut them the hell up. Keep them home and have them get a babysitter if they're that bad. But why do you think they're that bad at dinner? Because you haven't trained them. Right? So the self-soothing, you're telling them it's okay to tune everybody out. The only thing that matters is your instant gratification. Right? So when the waiter comes, what will Miss like to drink? Baby, what do you want to drink? What do they have? You have milk, lemonade, Friday, and hot. What do you want? I don't know. Tell the nice man what you want. Oh, how do you tell him? Tell the nice man what you want, or else you're not drinking anything. Tell him that. I'll have lemonade, please. You just showed your kid what to do. Waiter comes back. Well, a little guy like me. What do you want to eat for dinner? What do they got? Mac and cheese, pizza, or hot dogs, or tenders. Tell the nice man what you'd like. I'll take pizza, please. That is your responsibility. That's your responsibility. I've got two boys. One's 30, one's 25, and one's a firefighter, paramedic, and one's a police officer in some things. I've been with my wife since high school. Right? So my wife's Sicilian, and when she's mad at me, she yells at me in Sicilian. Okay. So we were at our happy place down in West Palm Beach. We have we're Marriott people, so we're down there since the kids were babies. And our favorite restaurant is a place called Sailfish Marina. Sailfish Marina is in the middle of the marina. The fish are caught fresh every single day. It's airy, it's beautiful. There's music. It's one of our favorites. So our waiter that we've known for 20 years, Greg, he sees us in line. He goes, "Kostakis, I got your table." It's always by the music and see outside of the porch, right? So I'm walking with my boys, and my wife's in front. And all of a sudden, my wife turns to me and she starts talking to me in Italian. Shut your mouth, just go sit down, and don't say a word. And I'm like, looking at my boys, and my boys are like, so we're walking, and I see two parents with twin boys, headphones on, iPads. And it is a gorgeous night. So I'm walking around. Don't say it. Can't say it. Don't say it fast. Looks like you guys are having a great conversation with your family today. And I walk away. Oh my gosh, get me under the table and you talk to the rest of the church. Who do you think you are? You can't tell people that. And so it's true. If we continue to allow parents to do that, they are addicting their children. Okay? Let me give you another example. So let's say you introduce your son or daughter to someone, right? And what do kids do now? Hi. It is your responsibility to teach them if they shake your hand, shake it. But if you have a handshake like this, like a wet noodle, people are going to be like, ooh, that kid's weird. Right? It is your responsibility as parents to go in there and teach them, pleasure to meet you, look them in the eye. Right? The secretaries and people I worked with at Naperville PD, ever since my kids were little, I made them shake everybody. Like we had cubicles as long as this. They had to go to every cubicle and shake every detective's hand. All the secretaries, they had to give them a hug and a kiss, every single one of them. And that's the only way they remembered my kids. I could be out at a retirement party. How are your boys? They're so fantastic. And that's how they remember my boys. By the handshake and the hugs and kisses they gave. That's our responsibility. Okay? Our children watch us. And they will emulate everything that we do. Even if we keep our devices on the table during the day. So you need to make that a rule. No devices at dinner. Because how are you going to make that follow if you don't follow, right? And they watch you. I'll give you a perfect example. Are you bringing your kids along when you're taking care of your parents? Because if you're not showing them how fond and how much you're taking care of your parents in that older age, who's going to take care of you? Okay? So please understand, kids watch everything you do, and they will become and emulate everything you are or are not. Okay? So this is a really important learning lesson for us as parents. So one of the other mistakes that parents make is that I'll ask the kids when I'm teaching them, how many of your parents had a technology talk with you? And they'll all raise their hand. Did it go something like this? If you take bad pictures, if you do anything bad on their phone, if you cyberbully anybody, you give out personal information, you do anything wrong on their phone, you're going to be grounded. I'm taking your phone away. You're not going to see the light of day. You're not going to have your friends. No sleepovers, no sports, no nothing. You're going to flip phone. So I asked that question. How many of your parents had a cyber talk like that? And they all raised their hand. So here's the next question I have for them. So if you make a mistake, or you talk to somebody who catfished you, are you going to tell your parents? They're like, oh, hell no. They're just going to handle it with that 25-year-old brain they got. And they're going to dig themselves deeper in a hole. Okay? So I want to introduce you to a concept that I created called the Golden Ticket Rule. Okay? What the Golden Ticket Rule says is that after this presentation, you're going to go back and have another conversation with your kids. Okay? So when you go back to them, you're going to say, look, I went to this presentation done by this detective. I had no idea what was going on in their social networks. I had no idea what was going on Roblox and Minecraft and Fortnite. Look, remember when Dad and I went like this to you when we kind of threatened you with your stuff? Now, if you're not doing your chores, we're taking away your phone. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about, if you are in danger, or somebody's making you feel like they're going to come get you, or they want you to do this or that we wouldn't approve of, or maybe you made a mistake, you got catfish and you did or said something, we are responsible for you. If you come to us, we're going to give you the golden ticket. And what the golden ticket is, it's a pass. That there's going to be no consequences for what you're about to tell us. Now, as parents, it's not that there's not going to be any consequences. You may redefine their boundaries, right? Like maybe if a predator was talking to them and they fell for it, maybe they did have a 2000, and okay, you're going to delete that, we're going to start again. Okay, we're going to start over. That's not a punishment, right? We're just going to make you safer. Or maybe you put monitoring software on their cell phones now because they've proven that they're vulnerable, right? Still not a punishment. So if any of you here, or any of you that we're live streaming to, if you're in this gray area, should I or should I not get my kid a cell phone? Okay, if you're in that area, please to God do not give them an iPhone. I know you guys are probably like, shit, I just gave my old one. But the fact of the matter is, Apple is the devil when it comes to protecting kids on their devices. They do not allow third-party real-time monitoring on their devices. okay? If you're gonna get your kid a device, make it an Android or a Bark phone, which is a high-end Android with the Bark software put into it. I gave you flyers to show you what that is, okay? So, when I went to Oregon, so I usually teach the cops for 3 days and in the school district 2 days. And when I was there, we went to dinner before the presentation and they said, Rich, we got a surprise for you. And now I've been teaching there since pre-COVID, so I'm there like 6 times a year at different places in Oregon, the school districts, and they love this stuff, and they've had such success with the program. They said, what we did this year for parents, we love your golden ticket rule, but we wanted to take it a step further. I said, what do you mean? They said, we bought a few hundred of these golden tickets that we're going to pass out to parents. I said, what is that? It's a magnet you put on your fridge. So what they did was, you put this on your fridge, and every day your kids look at it when they go in the fridge. And every day it reminds them that I have a lifeline to my parents. That if something goes wrong and I have to talk to my parents, I'm going to grab that magnet and say, Mom, something happened. And there's going to be no consequences. This mechanism, I was so impressed. I'm ordering thousands. I'm having them made right now. I'm ordering thousands of them. And I'm going to have them available on my website. And so, having this in their face, knowing that there's a lifeline to their kids is genius. Because kids need that opening. Especially at 2:30 in the morning when they just got 6:30, right? And they need something to say, something really bad happened to me, but please don't hit me hard, right? Please don't give me a lot of consequences. This allows them to open the door and break the ice. It was genius. It was genius. So I really enjoyed that. So, but what I don't want you to do, guys, when you go home, because of all the stuff that I'm telling you, I don't want you to do this. That's it. You're done. No Snapchat, no TikTok, no Roblox. No, you're going to flip phone. I'm not doing this. Don't do that. Because when you do that, in every school across the country, there's one kid that sells burner phones for $5. Either they steal them, or they collect them, or they're just hanging on old ones and they sell them for $5. Who needs phone service, right? With all the Wi-Fi. They can get into it with all the Wi-Fi. So it's really important that you have this technology talk with them. Let me show you another tool. Let me take a picture of this. This is a documentary called Childhood 2.0. It's on YouTube. It's free, and it's an hour and a half. This is what elementary, middle school, and high school students are doing behind their parents' backs. Okay? It is done by the BARC team. Full disclosure, I'm part of the BARC team. Myself, we have clergy people, we have psychologists, psychiatrists, we have judges, we have emergency room pediatricians, all kinds of people who are in the business of protecting children made this video. So I want to play a little trailer, and I want to show you this, but there's a way I want you to watch this, okay? I want you to watch this without your kids first, to see if they can handle the content, okay? If you think they can handle the content, then go ahead and watch it with them, but be ready to pause it on your TV and ask them questions. But here's what I don't want you to do. Pause. You're not doing this, are you? What do you think they're going to say, right? Pause. Tell me what you know about this. Kids love to tell you how smart they are, right? They love to tell you how smart they are. So what I want you to do is here's a trailer to kind of get a feel of what it's about.
A long time ago, families were in communities. They were local, they were small.
I was born in the very depths of the Great Depression. I was put to work carrying wood, carrying water. I knew how to shell peas, I knew how to break beans. We still didn't have electricity. I have
What's your Instagram account?
I use Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok.
TikTok and Fortnite. I can just scroll for hours on end. 11 hours a day.
It's been 8, 9.
Maybe like 12.
It's actually been a way that we can keep track of them out there in the real world where things really are scary.
The lives of kids were sort of changing slowly for a while, and then all of a sudden, most kids were able to get on social media, and that's when everything skyrocketed.
The rates at which they're experiencing problems continues to increase.
We also know that the teen suicide rate increased 56%.
Last year alone, we received over 18 million reports of international and domestic online child sexual abuse.
We have traded a false sense of safety and security for actually putting our kids in riskier situations. I call it the race to the bottom of the brainstem. So it starts with techniques like pull to
Pretty
refresh,
much every guy has like an addiction to it, but no one talks about
but
it.
it's just faster now, and it's younger.
Well, yeah, like millions of girls go around to school all the time.
At the beginning of the year, there were multiple suicides before school even started.
There were men that wanted to talk to children at all hours of the day and night.
On Snapchat, one thought it'd be a funny idea to talk the other one into committing suicide, and she did it. She's dead.
After about 6 weeks, we were able to crack his phone.
Kids right now are going to experience the worst of what we're going through.
Do you think your parents know that this happens?
No, my kid won't do that. My kid would never. My kid's school isn't like that. You're wrong.
Because what they see, they feel neurologically compelled to do. Right now, we're effectively living in an experiment. How is this going to affect us? We'll find out.
Okay, so let's talk about the big elephant in the room of why kids get in trouble. This is called sextortion. Black math for kids. So what happens in sextortion is that predators are very patient, okay? They want to groom your child to get enough information on them to use it against them in 1 or 2 or 3 months, depending on what they can get them to disclose, okay? So one of the things they'll do is they'll play Roblox, Minecraft, and Fortnite with them, or Call of Duty. And so what happens is, so let's say your kid comes home from school, they don't want to do chores, they just want to chill out and decompress after a school day. So they'll go on Roblox or Minecraft. So for 2 hours every day after school, they're on Roblox and Minecraft. And then when they're on there, they're going to meet someone. And this person that they meet on there is like, has the same interests, they love gaming together, they work together, they do everything in this game, and that person's always there for them. Every single day. Okay? So after about 2 months, this person that they've known for so long says, hey, let's go over to Discord DM. Let's go over to Snapchat. Let's go over to WhatsApp and talk. What I tell my kids when that happens, ding, 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 ding. That's your first red flag when talking to a predator. When someone takes you off of your gaming platform and go to private chat, they are not going to say that. Because if they had something to say, you can talk to me for 2 months. Why can't you say that again? Why do I got to go over there? Let me tell you why we go over there. So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has an AI program that runs in the background of every gaming platform, social network, and cloud service in the United States, except for Apple. Apple doesn't participate. That should tell you a lot. Okay? And it looks for 2 things. This AI program looks for grooming chat between adults and children. The second thing it looks for is CSAM, child sex abuse material or child pornography, naked pictures of kids. So it's sort of like, it's the same type of program. How many of you have had a private conversation with someone, and then 2 hours later you're driving home and all of a sudden you get feeds of ads of what you were just talking about, right? Like going to this restaurant or going to this cruise or whatever. So what's happening there, when you send out to your phone, you're giving permission for the phone to record your conversations, transcribe it, and like for example, I pay for Google keywords, right? So I have about 110 keywords that I put into Google, and if anybody types it, searches, or mentions it on an Android device, like cyber safety presentations or internet safety, you're going to get an ad. That's how that works. And if you click on it, they get paid. Okay? So the more they do it, the more money they make. Similar program. So when people talk about having sex with children, it'll flag. Somebody from the team gets alerted from TOS of Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. They read the alert, they say, yeah, that's grooming chat. They send everything to the National Center for Exploited Children. The name, the address, the IPs, the email address, the phone numbers associated to that account goes to NACMAC. NACMAC does a background on that information, and then they assign that case to one of 7,000 people like myself to investigate. That's a cyber attack that we investigate. Predators know we do this. So if they can take your kid out of that monitoring game to go into private chat, they got your kid. Now that they have your kid, here's the next part. The predator will say, we've been friends for so long, do you want to see what I really look like? And your kid's like, I don't care. They will send your child 2 or 3 pictures of themselves naked. Now it's not them. Remember, they have 250 victims to pick from, right? Now your kid's getting catfished. So when they send the pictures, your kid's like, is that how it is? Then the common denominator of every sextortion case is this. After they send the pictures, here's what comes next. Now you owe me 1 pic. So I ask the kids when I teach them, how many of you have ever received a text message, you owe me 1 pic? I'll get 30 kids raising their hands. So your second red flag is this. If someone ever says to you, you owe me 1 pic, you are about to be sextorted. And they're like, yeah. And that's when my kids started to panic, because that's exactly what happened to them. They're freaking out because I am specifically saying step by step what happened to them. And they're freaking out. And then they come see me, right? So, if we're not talking to our kids about this, guys, here's their thought process. Oh my God, is that how it is? Oh, I don't know if I should. But he says I owe him 1 pic. And if I don't take the same type of picture, he's going to be mad at me and never play with me again. I don't want that. There must be some internet law where I have to reciprocate that same type of picture because he says I owe him 1 pic. All right. Sends it to him. 3 days later, that friend they know for so long, 2 months, says, hey, how do you like your new Instagram account I made with your name on it and all your naked pictures? I'm going to send this to your family, your class, your church, your sports group, if you don't make me videos every week. And your kid's like, oh my God, I gotta tell my parents. Oh wait, you tell my parents. You're gonna be grounded, take your photo, you're gonna have to see like, I don't wanna be embarrassed. I don't wanna get in trouble, I don't wanna lose my phone. He says if I just make him 1 sexual video, like the kid in Columbus, Ohio, he'll leave me alone. It's never 1 video. It's never 1 picture. It'll continue till your kid has a breakdown. That is what's happening to our children. So let me show you exactly what happens. So she's got an online boyfriend, Zach. Zach keeps on asking her for pictures. And finally today she's in love and she's going to get him up.
Hi Zach, here's another video from our special guy. I can't believe we haven't talked all day. I wish you went to my school or lived closer so we could finally meet. Take it up. Get in an hour. Don't spend too long on the phone. Okay, I know you've been waiting for this for a while, so I wanted to give you something special. Is this okay?
are you? Why are you doing this?
Now, sextortion for girls is about sexual pictures and videos. Sextortion for boys is about money. Okay? What drives teenage boys? Hormones. For them to see a naked girl, they will do anything. So go on your phones right now, and I want you to search on Google, Yahoo Boys Sextortion. This is a group of sextortionists in Nigeria, and they're actually all over the world. They traffic young girls and they use young girls' pictures, usually Asian, to make your boys masturbate on a cam or take naked pictures of their junk in their room with their face. And then when the sexual stuff is done and the girl has this picture, the predator gets on, the trafficker gets on and says, now that we have you, you're going to pay me $250 gift cards. You have 4 hours to give me a gift card. So your kid's freaking out. Wait, I think I have a birthday card. I think I have a birthday gift card. They give him the birthday gift card. All right. Give me the code on the back. Scratch it off. Give me the number. Okay. All right. Please leave me alone. What they're doing in the background, they're copying all the Snapchat and Instagram friends of theirs, and they're actually sending those pictures to their friends. Then the friends are like, hey weirdo, what are you sending me? And your kid's like, oh my God, it's already started. I gave you the $250, stop now. No, now I want $300. Now I want $400. Now I want your parents' credit cards. This is what happens.
Probably in January of this year, and we've really kind of seen it exponentially grow around June.
Sextortion is a problem no parent wants to find their child caught up in. Compromising pictures or conversations threaten to be exposed.
And now, law enforcement is seeing a new shift in how sextortion happens. It shows gangs targeting adolescent and teen boys instead of girls. Casey Cronus has more in tonight's special report.
It starts out simple enough. A young boy receives a social media friend request from a cute girl he doesn't know. But there's much more to that message.
So they'll do 100, 200, 300 friend requests in one single day.
Rich Wistacki is a retired Naperville cybercrime detective who now travels the country talking to students and law enforcement about cyber safety.
But we're seeing a break right now where gangs all over the country and all over the world are sex trafficking young girls. And their job is to engage in boys' conversations online and in video chat.
Once the boy and the girl are video chatting, Wistacki says the girl does this.
They ask the kid, do you like what you see? And then they start engaging in sexual activity over a webcam. Well, what's happening in the background? That gang person who has trafficked this young girl, screen capture, screen capture, screen capture.
Wistacki says the young girl will also ask the boy to see his face and his room, things that will make him identifiable. While that's happening,
in the background, they're copying all their contact information on their Snapchat and their Instagram. So when the sexual activity is done, the gang person comes up on the camera and says, now that we have you, you better send us $250 in gift cards.
Wistacki says some boys will go get their parents' credit cards so they can send the money to the gang that is sextorting him.
And then it's either being sent to the Philippines, the UK, Russia.
The trends that we're seeing are international offenders, specific kind of to West Africa, Nigeria, the Ivory Coast.
Chicago HSI Special Agent Susan Jensen investigates child exploitation cases. She's also seen this new sextortion shift.
Our office
is receiving leads on a daily basis with individuals that have been exploited.
While it can be difficult to prosecute an overseas offender, Jensen says Homeland Security's Cybercrime Center is working closely with its international field offices and foreign governments to try to make that happen. There are steps you can take to protect yourself from becoming a victim.
A lot of what we're seeing now is Instagram and Snapchat, different social media sites where kids have their profiles that are unblocked, they're not private, and then they have their list of friends available for...
So what I tell the boys and the girls, have you ever heard the old adage, if it's too good to be true, it usually is? So I'm like, dudes, no hot girl is going to all of a sudden hit you up and share the naked picture with you. And nothing ever is going to come good if you take your clothes off in front of the camera, ever. Girls and guys. Nothing is going to come good at that. Ever. So knock it off. Guys, if this happens to you, don't pay the money. Do not pay the money. Get the 5 pieces of evidence that every killjoy needed, and then within 2 hours, once police get it, we can wipe out that whole account so they're going to lose all the information on them. Okay? So don't pay the money. We can find out who it is, and we wipe it out. If they're in Nigeria, we're going to wipe out their accounts within a couple hours. Now, for 7th and 8th graders in high school, we do talk about dating. Okay? So what I tell them about dating is this. If you start to like or fall in love with a girl or a guy, if in that relationship they start to ask you for naked pictures or else, that's a toxic relationship. Now, hopefully you're abstaining, you're not involved in sex, but if this relationship requires you to take naked pictures of yourself, that's a toxic relationship. Because you have to ask yourself this question. What happens to my pictures after we break up? Do they expire upon breakup? No. Do they automatically delete it when they know you're not together anymore? No. Let's carry a step further. What happens when their new boyfriend or girlfriend goes in their device and finds out you're there keeping pictures of their ex? And they find your naked pictures. What do you think is going to happen to your pictures? They're going to get distributed. And everybody's going to know what you did. Okay? So I want to show you a tool. All right? This tool is called Take It Down. So parents right now, go in your browsers and your phone and go into Chrome or whatever browser you use and type in takeitdown.ncmec.org. takeitdown.ncmec.org. This website is created by the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. What it was designed for, is that when kids are involved in this situation and they're afraid their significant other is going to share their naked pictures with everyone, they can upload all the pictures that they shared to Take It Down. When you upload all your pictures and videos that you shared, the National Center is going to extrapolate the digital DNA of that picture, which we call a SHA value, SHA hash value. They're going to share that digital DNA of that SHA hash value with all their partners. Now, if you click on the hamburger there, and you'll see participants, every social network, every platform is going to get a do not possess, do not download, do not transfer command request from their server. And if somebody has that naked picture, it gets reported to the National Center as a cyber attack. And then we're going to find out why that person has your naked picture, child pornography. Okay? 6 months ago, they opened this up for adults for revenge porn. So you can upload your stuff, and they were virtually going to eradicate that picture or video from the internet. Anybody who has that picture, it's going to be taken down. Okay? Here's a little video on how it works.
Losing control of your nude images online is terrifying. And if you're a teen,
I have about 15 minutes left.
It may feel impossible to reverse it. Well, you can't go back in time and unsend. we can help you move forward.
So I would bookmark that in your browsers just so you have it. Okay. So when I asked them what they're using, right? I asked them what they're using. Right? I want to introduce you to Discord. Have you guys heard it? Discord is a chat site for gamers. Okay? Now remember AOL chat rooms when we were growing up, right? You had all the AOL created rooms here, you had all the live rooms here, and you had all the people that were in the chat rooms, right? So gamers use this to get like cheat codes, to recruit other people to play with them, and all the different games are listed on the left. But up here, see that right there? That's DM, direct messaging chat. So Discord did something nefarious. They changed the language. Because they knew if you as a parent asked your kid, hey, what's this Discord thing you're going into? I heard about it on the news. Oh, it's a chat room for gamers. What would you say? Oh, hell no, you're not going there. Chat rooms are bad. Why were chat rooms bad? We were growing up. Why were they bad? What was in there?
Predators, yeah, people.
Yeah, predators. You click on a link, it can take over your computer, right? You get infected, right? It was bad.
Whoa.
Must be Storm.
Oh, there it is.
So,
Your computer's still on.
this is God saying it's over, Rich. Is there a storm out there?
There's tornado watches.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Probably wind.
Like the emergency stuff's on.
Tornado watch. Fire weather watch. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So, I've heard, and I think you said at the beginning of your presentation, that wasn't our so that child was like, is manipulating and send a picture out. But the information is that clicking that is
No, not true. Cops would say that not to take a report. Yes, no, they are victims. They're being manipulated by predators. They are victims. There's no jurisdiction in this area that's going to arrest them. None. Now, there may be patrol officers out there saying that if you make them take this report, that's going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if they say it's going to happen, you contact me, and then I will take care of the business on the other side with whatever chiefs or state attorneys I need to contact. But this state attorney will never do that, ever. They're victims, right? Plain and simple, they're victims. This is coming back on for me.
You said not if you're going to call the police, don't talk to abuse, don't report it as under abuse first.
Yes.
But if you're not going to,
if you're not going to involve the police, by all means report to abuse.
So I'm not familiar with abuse. What is?
Okay,
that?
so when people have something happen on a social network or gaming platform, and people are being like ignorant or jerks, they can hit the report button, and then it reports it to their abuse section at the social network or gaming platform.
Where they're actually at?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So first, get your 5 things, call the police. That's the...
Yes. If you're interested in finding out who it is and making them comment.
Okay.
If you're just thinking that these people are just jerks, you're not really harming you, then report to abuse.
Okay.
And don't even bother with police.
Okay.
So, but again, if it's something criminal,
yeah,
you shouldn't be victimized, right?
Right.
So that's where we're at.
Okay.
All right. So they changed the language in Discord. You ask any kid, hey, what do you do in Discord? I make servers. So now when the parent says, hey, what do you do in Discord? Oh, I make servers. Now, I get so smart. And no question. They changed the language. Okay? So again, it's just something that you have to understand. Do you guys have Oculus in your house? You have Oculus. Okay. So there are 4 rules in Oculus. Okay, it's the virtual reality game.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I will walk up to a 13 or 14-year-old student, usually a girl, and I'll say, "Hey, sweetheart, what's your Facebook?" And they'll look at me like, "Facebook? That's for old people like my parents. Get away from me, boomer. I don't have Facebook." Well, okay. Well, in order to have an Oculus, you have to have a Facebook account. So who do you think you're going to be playing with? Old people, right? So it's just a matter of knowing what they're using. So here are the 4 rules for Oculus. Number 1. Only allow your child to play in a public room in the house. Do not put Oculus in your basement or their bedrooms. Okay? Living room, family room, TV room, dining room, where you can hear them. Number 2, you need to go into settings of the game and turn off messaging and chat. Your kids are there to play the game, not to have a conversation with adults. Okay? Number 3, go into settings and turn on the speaker in the headset. Because when in the public room in the house, predators will ask questions like this, and your kid won't even give it a second thought because they're so busy playing the game. They're not listening to you. What time do your parents come home? Are you the only child? Do you have a single mom? Do you live with your grandparents? What's the process there? These are predator questions. And if you hear that, you're like, what did he say? Your kid just played a game, right? You're not even hearing it, so into the game, but you heard the question. You know the type of predator. Understand, in Roblox and in VR, Oculus, there are sexual rooms in there to teach kids how to have sex. In Roblox. If you go on YouTube and you type in dangers of Roblox, you're going to see all these sexual rooms in there that they're exposing our 9 and 10-year-old kids. And then adults are coming into this room having sex with each other in Roblox. It's crazy. Number 4, go ahead in your App Store and Google Play right now and type in Meta Horizon in the search field. Meta Horizon. If you have Oculus.
Oh, if you have Oculus.
Yeah. So Meta Horizon, you download it, and then you can Bluetooth the screen of your phone to the headset and see exactly where they're at remotely. Meta Horizon. Okay? So, I only have a couple slides left, and I can talk about it. It's no big deal. Let's see. Yeah. So, the biggest mistake, and the most common mistake parents make, is when you allow your child to charge their devices in their rooms at night. When you allow your child to charge their devices in their rooms at night, you're sleeping. They don't need to talk. Just like you saw in Columbus, it's typing, reading, and performing. So when you allow those devices, you are actually allowing predators in your kid's bedroom. Okay? And parents, they fool themselves. I would never let my kid have their Chromebook, no, their phone, no. They only have their Apple Watch. Well, what do you think this is? No. All devices in your room, parents. They don't get their devices until they're ready for school. In the morning, then they just passed state law. There's going to be no phones in schools at all. Okay?
When does that go into effect?
Huh?
When does that go into effect?
I'd say probably by next school year. Yeah, he's probably going to sign in July. Yeah. And across the United States, wherever I travel, test scores go through the roof. No more fights. Or reduced. Not a lot of drugs either. And the amount of cyberbullying gets cut in half. It is amazing when you take these things out. Okay? So, the last exercise that I have for you all is that this is my last slide of what I tell the kids. If anybody ever tells you Don't tell your parents they're going to harm you. I don't care if it's at school, sports team, church, whatever, anybody tells you, don't tell your parents they're eventually going to harm you. You need to tell a responsible adult if someone ever tells you that. Now there's an exercise that goes with this, guys. Take your text messaging out on your phone. Pull up your text messages. This is what you're going to do to your kids' phones. You're going to pull it down, your messages, and a search bar is going to come up. If you have an Android, it's going to be a spyglass. You're going to type in, don't tell your, and search every message in their messages. When I was in Oregon last month, I had a mom. She was like, I'm almost done. Wait, I'm almost done. So after I was done, she was like, can we get the time again? Just one more time. She goes, look at these text messages from this girl named Sarah. Did you like it when I kissed you in the hallway? Did you like it when we went into the closet? And I'm like, she's like, is my daughter gay? And I don't know. So I called the principal. I said, principal, so I explained what was happening. He was like, oh my God. I said, so I hit info on the house, right? I said, put this phone number in your phone to see if you have a contact for this phone. Like you're going to call. So he puts the number in, hits send, and then stops. It's the janitor. The janitor had been sexually abusing her through the school day, showed her how to hide under the name Sarah, kept on telling her, delete these messages, don't tell your parents, just to lock her in, and it was the janitor. So these are the exercises you really need to do. So there is...
Just before you move on, is there a way to do that for Snapchat too?
Well, you can do it through monitoring software, but you can't do it through Snapchat because that'll disappear. Okay. One thing I want to show you with Snapchat. Okay. There's something called a vault in Snapchat. Alright? So if you have Snapchat, go ahead and pull your Snapchat out. I'm going to show you where it's at. So you're going to go to Snapchat. Okay? So the round button on the bottom is the snap button. Right? There's a deck of cards to the left of that. Hit the deck of cards. Okay? Now at the top, it says home, camera roll, all AI snaps, screenshots. Now watch what happens when I do my finger. I'm going to roll the top over all the way to it says my eyes only. Click on my eyes only. If a pad is there, that means they're already hiding the most nefarious pictures they will ever keep in their phone.
Wait, if a padlock?
Yeah.
And
but if it says click here to set up your my eyes only, that means they haven't set it up yet.
Oh.
But if a pad appears, they're already hiding pictures and videos in here. Now watch you prepare yourself. Your kids are going to lie to you. They are going to say, I don't know what that is. I set it up a long time ago. Somebody else set it up for me on a sleepover. I don't remember what it is. Listen, they're lying. They know what the code is. Okay? So then you have to bring up the golden ticket rule. Look, remember the golden ticket thing I just talked to you about? That applies here. I need to know what's in here. Now, if you go to options and hit reset, you can reset the password. But it's going to wipe out everything that was in there. Okay? So please understand that. So I want to expose you to this fantastic site on Facebook. It's called Parenting in the Tech World. Go ahead and take a picture of that. Parenting in the Tech World. There are almost 500,000 parents in there. You can ask whatever question that you have. It's moderated by 10 BARC members. I'm one of them. So when questions come up, if we're on it, we'll answer them. From securing an iPhone, you'll see an iPhone, there is nothing that secures an iPhone. Just understand that. So it's a great resource for you. Now, when it comes to monitoring software, If you Google what Bark monitors, it'll show you what an Android monitors, what a iPhone monitors, and what the Bark phone monitor. Let me tell you the difference in all these. So, Bark will work, and I'm giving you 30 days for free. And if you can fire, just have to put a be sure to coupon code. It'll work on an iPhone. Okay, but you have to do something called onboarding. What is onboarding? Onboarding means you're going to take the phone with the charging wire, you're going to put it into your computer that's attached to your Wi-Fi. It's going to send you a text message, you download it in the text message, and then what happens, every time your son or daughter comes home and hits your Wi-Fi, it thinks it's backing up to the cloud. That is the only time you're going to get the alerts, is when they hit your Wi-Fi. Other than that, you're screwed. Now, if you have an Android phone, it is real-time monitoring. Okay, so when it happens, boom, you're going to get a notification. You're going to see all their text messages. You're going to see all their browsing history, everything. Now, if you get a Bark phone, that's $50 a month, and it's a high-end Android phone, and you're leasing the phone. The software is built into the hard drive. You have such total control. For example, let's say you're at dinner with family, and you see your kids playing Roblox. Hey, put the phone away. You look over 15 minutes later and you do it again, I'll fix it. Now you can have whatever phone you want, doesn't matter. You open up your Bark app, you go to his phone, turn it off remotely. They can't turn it off until you say so. You can turn off apps, you can turn off the phone, whatever you want to do. Total remote control of the phone. Both my boys had Androids. When they went to college, they're like, yeah, we're not phone if you're not watching us. And I'm like, that's all right, I already trained you. You know, I already trained you what to do on that. Right? So I want to show you an illustration on what happens when there's an alert. Okay. So he's going to get a text message, and other guys are at a party, and they're like, nobody likes you, you should go kill yourself. And then mom's going to get a text message from Bark. And then it's going to show her what he received or what he sent out.
As a parent, you never want to see your child struggling with suicidal thoughts. But today, the threat is hidden deep within their phones. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for kids. And cyberbullying makes this threat a much more present reality. That's why I rely on Bark. Built by parents, for parents, Bark's award-winning dashboard monitors text messages, emails, and over 30 different apps and potential safety concerns. When Bark detects a digital danger, I receive automatic alerts so that I can deal with problems as they arise, while still respecting my son's privacy by not having to read through every single message. Bark even delivers research-backed recommendations on dealing with the issue. This helps me and my son work together, trust each other, and build a deeper bond. The screen time management and web filtering tools help me set healthy limits on how and when my kids use their devices. Plus, their data is always protected and private, giving me further peace of mind. To date, Bark has helped protect millions of children while detecting tens of thousands of severe self-harm situations. You know, we spend so much every month just trying to keep ourselves entertained. But I find real value by investing in my son's wellness and safety. Bark brings us closer together.
Yeah, there's tons of videos on their YouTube channel as well. That's the slide that I showed them. And that's it. Any questions? Any other questions? Yeah.
So, I see all of the ads of celebrities endorsing Instagram's parental controls.
Yeah.
And I'm sure every other app has some level of that, you know, like the 13 account for 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they're really, to me, it what I'm seeing in my feed, it's really pushing that. Like, get your kids on there because it's so safe.
Yeah.
The commercial has me tearing up of the mom, and she gets the alert, like, oh, you're gonna go off with your friends, and like, I've taught him how to cross the street and look both ways, so he's good, and I get the alerts, so it's okay to be on Instagram. What is the take on that? Because obviously, social media is
It is
for profit.
it is a false sense of safety. That is probably the best thing they could have done for predators. Because predators will make a 13-year-old profile and they'll have free access to your kids, and none of the parents are going to check because they think it's safe. So I'm involved in some legislation right now that hopefully will be signed in Springfield, that we are going to make Apple and Google responsible, right? And all they have to do is that when you sign your kid up to the cloud, like if they have an iPhone, you have to put them under your cloud, right? You put their date of birth in. So when you put their true date of birth in, and they try to download stuff, if they're not of that age, they can't get it. Any website that they go to has a filter for under 18. They can't get it. They can't even download it. It's an easy fix at the device level. But Google and Apple don't. They're paying millions of dollars for lobbyists to try to shut us. Google set the. I'm with the International Missing Exploited Children. There's a national and there's an international. I'm part of the international, part of their team. So they send me out to different states to testify why they should do this. So Google sent us a $30,000 check for nothing. So my CEO says, no thank you, right on the check. No thank you, and send it back. So they're trying to pay us off not to do this. So that is the only true way. But all this other BS at the levels of the social networks, predators just going to make a 13-year-old profile, and they're going to catfish your kid. And parents ain't going to look because they think it's safe. That's the problem.
Is there something on like Snapchat, Instagram, like something in the preferences or settings that you can to provide any kind of?
Yeah. So if they have a 13 to 17-year-old profile that you're going to sit there and make it with them, if you find out they did 2000, if you make it 13 to 17, no one 18 years of age or older can search them, talk to them, or send them anything. That's worldwide. COPA, they call it a COPA standard. Yeah.
So just check the profile.
So you're solving half the problem, right?
Right.
But again, it doesn't mean your kid
around
can. Yeah, it doesn't mean your kid can't get captured with a 13-year-old profile.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So another device that's out there is something called Bark Home. It's a device you put on your router, and it'll filter everything, and will send you alerts. No matter what device you have, if they're going to that site, you're going to get a report on it.
We do have Bark I don't think we have Bark Home, but we have it for his phone, for our son's phone.
Yeah.
But it's not the Bark phone. Like, it still was able to work with his.
Right. Does he have an Android or an iPhone?
Android.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can locate him and everything too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to like connect with his phone and like set it all up.
Sure. And they have great customer support. They will sit on the phone with you for hours to set it up for you. They're great. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
So with the like no phones in schools, that whole thing, and I know that this has been like an ongoing debate.
Yeah.
And I hear those benefits. How does this then play out with, like, I got my 2 oldest kids Apple Watches. It is locked down to only the contacts. They cannot add contacts. It's mom, dad, family, that's it. Purely because I wanted to be able to have a way to communicate with them if they were ever in an unsafe situation at school or friends' houses.
Sure.
And also be able to track them.
Sure.
So devices seem to be included in this law.
Yeah.
So how do we balance that? Like, we want parents to be on board with this concept of let's get rid of these devices so that it's not being used during school, but still have that safety and access.
So in SWAT operations, we always say, okay, what do we gain? What do we lose? Right? So if I go down that hallway versus that hallway, what do I gain? What do I lose? How long is it? Blah, blah, blah. Same thing here. What do I gain? What do I lose? Parents always put up the safety, school shooting thing. I want to no. So what happens if there's a school shooting? In Illinois, we are mandated to have threat assessments and practice this stuff, right? The problem is when kids have devices, they're calling and texting their parents what's happening in real time. causing the parents to go to the school, breaching our outer perimeter, and causing chaos. The parents in a school shooting are chaos agents. And again, I understand it. I taught my kids, you throw a chair through the window, get the fuck out of there. Sorry, get the hell out of there. So that's what you do. If you hear the shots, that's what you do. But not having them. Now, are you guys getting pouches, or they're going to keep them in their lockers, or what?
This is all
TBD.
new stuff. Yeah.
TBD.
I didn't realize it had passed through the House yet. I know
Yeah.
it was passed through the Senate. I think it was still waiting on the House for approval.
It
Yeah,
says
no, I think it
it's
passed through the
passed.
Senate already.
Yes.
It says academic year 26-27
Yes.
would be when it would be going
Yes,
into
yes,
effect.
yes, yes. And so I always advise parents to use 360, that you know that phone is there and how long it's been there and whatever. If the phone moves, then you can communicate through that. But the fact of the matter is that when it comes to the safety part, they're usually safe at school. If there's a shooting incident, our schools really know how to lock it down.
Yeah, I think beyond that though, like thinking about times have changed. Kids are not going home to their parents being home.
Yep.
They're taking the bus, they're walking,
Yep,
they're riding
yep,
their bike, and going to sports, going to activities.
Yep, yep.
So like again, that's kind of where my lens
Yep.
came from. This wasn't like
Yep.
mom and dad pick you up and you're going directly and they're
Yeah.
with you all the time.
Yeah,
It's
a lot
such
of the
different
schools,
world.
I don't know if there's a caveat for an exception for the pouches. I haven't read that. So, because most schools now are using the pouches. They're called
Yeah.
Faraday pouches.
Yeah.
And they can't get a signal. And then if that phone moves, you'll know it moves. I really believe that taking out is more benefit than harm. I really do. Across the board. Mental health,
Yeah.
grades, fighting, all of that. It has changed when you take them out of the school. So I think there's more benefit than not. Especially, almost every school has a resource officer in it. So that's just my feeling on it, because I know what the results are across the country. And it's astonishing. Yeah.
Is there an age in your opinion, experience, where, what is there an age to give a kid a phone?
Well, I gave my boys their phones when they were 11 because they were high-level soccer players. So we played soccer like all over the world. My son played in Spain for a couple months. And, we were in these soccer fields that there's 20 fields in one park. I had to track him, because he's not paying attention to numbers. He's just going with his team. So if I track him, I know where he's at. You know what I mean? So, but as soon as you give them a phone, you have to have monitoring software out there. You have to have a positive technology stuff. You have to do the golden ticket, and you reinforce it every step of the way. My kid took a stupid picture, and I got to learn on it. And did I whip his ass when he did? Oh yeah, I whipped his ass when he did it. He'll never forget it, and that's just the way I parent. But I had boys, I probably wouldn't do that if I had girls. But as young as you get them, you have to deploy these tactics. Have to. But, I'll get parents saying, "Well, he's only got a Snapchat for family." Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, they're lying. Yeah. So when they say that, well, did you check my eyes only on the Snapchat? Well, what's that? So you're really not in that phone, are you? So, yeah. Anything else?
When will you be teaching the students?
That's up to you guys.
Oh, that's gonna happen, or?
I would love to partner and bring you
Yeah.
back.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, the Will County Road, Lisa Caparelli is all about this.
Yep.
And, yeah. She calls me once a week about this or about that. I am her consultant. So she relies on me heavily for the right decisions,
So has there been training at like the Will County Sheriffs or like our local police departments, or is that something like in the works?
Yes. So the road, Lisa Caparelli, she has hosted through it's called Tri-River Training. That's the law enforcement training in this area. And they have had me out 4 or 5 times over the last 2 years.
Good.
Yeah, they're really good about it. Yeah. But you just got to make sure your SRO is certified and, you know, everything's on the up and up. Yeah. Who services your schools? Will County?
PHL and Police Department, and then we have Will County. I mean, we're in Will County, the whole district, but then our Green Garden School, PHL
Okay.
Intermediate Center, just
They have Will County SROs?
Yeah.
So we get Will County.
Yeah.
Okay.
We only have one SRO for
Okay,
each
yeah.
there.
Yeah. And if you ask him, I'm probably sure that they took my calls.
We'll make sure he takes
Yeah.
it.
And if he doesn't, make sure he gets into it.
Yeah.
Because I teach them all the time. All the time. There's something called a NEMERT catalog, Northeast Multi-Regional, or if you contact me, I'll contact Lisa, say, Lisa, I mean, actually, I'm doing one for Tri-River coming up soon. Yeah.
So and this may be like a very long, lengthy answer for further detail, but like, as you said, kids are scared. They think that, and they hear that you're going to get in trouble, even if it's your own photos, because it's considered child pornography or what. I think I just saw like a headline even of kids being tried, like there's a legal case or something, and it's like, how is this even possible?
No.
So how do we help kids understand that that's not what's going to happen? Because I think the second that thought gets put in their head by whoever, probably the predators, other people, they hear stories, rumors, all this stuff, that becomes law to them.
It's education. Yeah. And that's why they feel so comfortable coming to me after.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we teach our parent presentation in English, Spanish, Polish, and Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an influx of Spanish-speaking kids. And we handle that.
I know in the packet you mentioned like the roadblocks kind of set up browsing, and I'm like, okay, we've done that.
Okay, good.
Do you have other fact sheets for like something getting into Fortnite, and like we have it where it's like we have the parent page?
Yeah, your best real-time stuff is going on YouTube, and you just put dangers of.
Okay, and then watching.
Yeah.
So
Dangers
if there's
of.
something we haven't done to be able to lock it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or how do I lock down this?
Okay.
And the videos will show you.
Okay.
Yeah. For making casseroles or changing your brakes, that's what I do. So, anything else?
It was good, Rick.
Thank you.
Very powerful.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys coming down. Thank you so
Very
much.
good, very good.
Yeah. And again, a lot of my school districts have this training on YouTube. So if you want to send a link to someone, by all means. Yeah.
And we're able to share it on
Yeah,
our website,
absolutely. Yep.
on our
Anywhere you
Facebook
want.
pages.
Anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. Yep. Yep. Yep.
That's good.